Well, now, without further ado, how about we discuss 5 businesses that you should not start? Don't start them. Just because you have the cash, don't start these businesses. Otherwise, you're going to regret and be like, oh my goodness, I wish somebody actually talked to me. I wish I had this before starting this business. All right, let's get into the business. But don't forget, hey, if you're watching me for the first time, my name is Joseph. Talk about money, that is financial literacy. Talk about investment, talk about businesses. That's the area of my profession. And by the way, I usually upload a video each and every day. So if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. As simple as that. That's how you get notified whenever I upload a new good video. All right, and for the returning subscribers, thank you for your eyeballs. Let's get to the business now. See, when you want to start a business, obviously there's some factor that you have to consider, but today we are talking about 5 of them that you're not to start even if you have the cash. Number 1, don't start a business that does not preserve your capital. Have you ever heard of somebody talking about capital preservation? I repeat, see, when you put your capital at risk, see, it took you a lot of time to accumulate that capital. Maybe you are saving, you are sacrificing, you had all the discipline. Maybe have taken you a year, 2, 3, or 5, whatever the period. Now you have that capital to start the business. No, rule number one, never lose your money. That's what you're supposed to do. So always start something that always start something that preserve your capital. Have you ever heard of people talking about capital preservation? What does it mean? See, when you see, I always say this, you better risk the profit but don't risk the capital. And this is what happens. You see, when you start, for example, say if you start a hardware business and things go south and you realize, hey, this was not a best idea, you have to close it down, you have to run out of that business, and maybe you have to change or something of sort. Hey, you can go ahead and liquidate those things that you were selling, the goods that you're selling, and get back your capital. Or, I know that's kind of weird, but what if you start something like rental, or maybe let's say real estate or something of sort? And that's why people, like most of the people, tend to love real estate. Because why? See, if anything goes south, you can liquidate the asset that you have and you can get back the capital that you had. You see, start a business that you can be able to do what we call the capital preservation. And this is how it goes by. See, whenever you're starting a business, and if you know this capital that I'm having, it is not like the dear money that I'm having, and you're okay with losing it, there's no problem with that. But if you know this is the dear money that you have, always start something that you know. And for example, see, there's an occasion when you can start a business using a loan. And for example, say you want to do something like wholesale or something of sort, and you go grab a loan. And then you find that you're taking the loan money to go and buy yourself the shelving or branding the business, buying the counters and all those kind of. See, when you take a loan, you're supposed to channel that money towards a strategic thing that you're selling. Just in case of anything, you can be able to liquidate it. I mean, who will you sell the shelves and all those kind of things? You see, in any given business, there are 2 types of things. We have the strategic and non-strategic. For example, so you want to sell the milk and you want a brand, paint a very white thing and all those kind, do the tiling and all. See, painting the white thing, having a nice ceiling, having a very nice tiling and whatever, that is not what you're selling. You're selling a single commodity called the milk. But you having that quite an elegant and nice looking place is non-strategic, and it's helping you to sell the strategic thing. So at all the time, channel your huge of the capital towards the strategic thing that can preserve your capital. Just in case of anything, you can liquidate it, get your money back, and that's how you live under the principle of never ever lose your money. Let's go to point number 2. Point number 2 is that don't start a business that you do not have a control of. I'm going to give you a very simple example. Like, I received a call from a client. She told me, hey, you know what, Joseph? I've started a business that is a spa, salon, and barber and whatever. And that thing has actually scoped over 1.5 million of my Kenyan money. That's like over 10,000 USD. And where I am right now, I'm actually feeling like I can cry. And I was like, why? Because the employee that I've employed, these guys are actually taking advantage of me. See, I do not possess the skills of doing the spa. I do not do massage. I cannot be able to plait hair for the ladies. I can't even do barbershop and all those kind of things. So they know I cannot be able to do this. So the moment I try to exercise my boss activity, I mean, you see, as the owner of the business, obviously there are some areas where you'd say, hey, you guys do this. They are not. For example, we can wake up early in the morning and I'm in my business. Clients have already come. Clients have already shown up, but I'm calling these clients, they haven't shown up. Then they're telling me, I'm on my way, I'm on my way, I'm on, to a point whereby I'm feeling like I'm being taken advantage of. And at this particular point, this is what I can tell you. Do not start a business that you do not have a control of. Always start a business that you yourself, you can be able to control it. You do not survive under the masses of the employees, because if they realize you do not possess the skills about that business that you're starting, they're gonna take advantage of you from the word go. And this is what I always advise people, even before employing them, even if it means you actually going ahead and writing sort of an agreement, contract or something of sort. Hey, guess what? You have to show up at this particular time. You cannot leave the job before the 4 or 5 months or something of sort. This is because you can start a business. The business is picking up very well. Business is doing good. Business is doing amazing. Everything is running well. And then all of a sudden somebody says, hey, I want to resign. I want to disappear. Sometimes they cannot even tell you. They just don't show up. They just disappear. You see, the moment you get yourself in such a situation, remember, this is a newbie. You're just beginning in this business. Really needs a lot of care, needs a lot of good reputation to the clients, the customers, and what have you. The moment they realize that you guys still have some brangles here and there, that's quite a very, very bad thing. Another thing I always tell people is that go ahead and interact with people who understand this business. Talk to them. What systems have they laid down? What exactly do they do? If they are off the business, how does it run? How do they monitor? How do they do the things and all those kind of things? So when you combine all these things, a working system, you being out there, having the knowledge and understanding at that particular point, you can be able to successfully run that business. And I know that point goes hand in hand with a point like, don't start a business that you do not understand, okay? A business that you do not understand, okay? At this particular point, when we say don't start a business that you don't understand, it's kind of different from you starting a business that you do not have a control of. For example, see, before you start any given business, you have to understand who are the suppliers, who are the distributors, what is the pricing of this business, who am I targeting? Are you starting this business on the basis of you just having the cash? Are you starting at this business because it's called a Me Too business? Especially in Kenya, we have that problem. You find somebody starting a business and you realize they're succeeding, and then you're like, okay, you kind of find out how much they start with, like 200K. I have the 200K, so also myself, I can start the business. So you end up starting a business. You do not even understand. You don't know where they're getting the products. You don't even know how they're doing the pricing. You do not even know things to do with customer service, because you have a problem when it comes to the social life. You're not okay with the social life. You're starting a business because you just have this, you see, there's something called emotional stages or something of sort. You can go check it out there. You see, it talks about having what we call inspired pessimistic, as in you so much uninformed optimistic. You have that uninformed optimistic, like you're so optimistic, like, hey, this can work, this is amazing idea, all those kind of things, until you execute the idea. The moment you execute the idea, you realize it's so much different from what you thought. At that particular point, you start going down. That's what we call now, you go to a point whereby you get yourself to something, we call it the valley of despair. And that valley of despair is when you say, guess what, I was optimistic about this business. The problem is that I was not even informed. I think I can even quit it. At that valley of despair is when people make decision. You either pick yourself up and go ahead and work yourself up, or you throw the towel and say, guess what, me and businesses, damn. You get what I'm saying? So, or you actually go ahead and push yourself up. Now you operate under something called informed pessimistic. Remember, when you're starting, you are uninformed optimistic. Now you operate on what we call informed pessimistic. Now you've already known, hey, guess what? It will require me to do this and this and this to actualize this business. It will require me to go through this. It will require me to actually sort of sacrifice my nights and days and such kind of things for me to realize this business reaching this particular point. So at that particular point, you keep on pushing. And when you're operating under the informed pessimistic, then you get approached by an individual who is operating under an informed optimistic. You're always gonna collide, because the moment you push the thing to a point whereby seem like it's effortlessly. Let me just use a very simple example. Say you want to be a content creator and you want to start a YouTube channel, okay? So you see, when you see people succeeding, they're just posting a video, you see the wow, 10,000 viewers, 100, 200, a million viewers. It's quite simple. You just be somewhere, be dramatic, record that video and post it, and you get the views. The moment you do exactly that, and probably you're doing so with better camera, then you realize you're not watching and nobody is watching. At that particular point, you tend to realize, oh my goodness, I was operating on an informed pessimistic. optimistic. But the moment you realize it needs to push, and the moment you push that job to a point whereby just you can even open a camera and talk about anything and receive like hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views, at that particular point, then the people, they tend to think like, hey, your job is easy. It was not easy. There was a time you had that roller coaster of feelings and emotions. Okay, so the same case happens to a business. Start that business that you understand. Start that business that you know and understand it fully in and out. Otherwise, if you just rush into starting a business on the basis of, hey, people are starting it, it is okay, it's me too, I can, you're gonna lose a lot of things. Now we go to the next point. That is point number 4. Is don't start a business that you're passionate about. Business that you're passionate about. I know you're like, what, Joseph? You said that we should not start a business that you're passionate about. Well, I mean, if you're only banking passionate or passion about that business as the ultimate factor why you want to start that business. I've ever met some individual, not even one. They say, hey, I want to start this business because I'm passionate about it. And then ask them, okay, hey, what else? I'm passionate about. There's nothing else they're banking on that apart from the passion about it. See, can be a passionate about. It's you who is being passionate about that business. The ground or the location where you want to start that business, they don't care about your passion. That's a reality. And the earlier you accept this, nobody cares about you. That's a reality. Nobody cares about you. See, you're passionate about doing fashion and design. And whatever you want to start that business, you want to making some clothes, nobody cares about fashion and design. So at that particular point, you're supposed to overlook your passion. If these people are telling you, go ahead and start as a grocery, you go start a grocery. That's where the money is. Sometimes I hate when I see people get this delusion that they just want to start a business that they are passionate about it. The only thing that they're banking on is about passion. You see, I'm passionate about this. It's an amazing thing. You see, since I was a young person, I've been looking forward into. See, the point is, you're not the one who will be buying from that business. Other people will. You get what I'm saying? So it's always good to start that what, even if you are not passionate about it. I'm not saying that you disregard your passion. Fine, it's good to consider your passion. But after considering the passion, now go beyond that. Fine, I'm passionate about it now. But what are the ground say? What does the location say? What is the demand say? Supply and all those kind of things. So if you realize whatever is written on the ground, it sort of corresponds with that of you are passionate about it, then you can actualize that. But the moment you realize there is some sort of 1, 2, 3, and I always love to give this weird example. Those people who sell stones and sands for construction, who is passionate about stones and sands and such, but they do so because it's making money. That is what you're supposed to do. All right. The last one, but not the least, is that you're supposed to go ahead and if you want to start a business, say you want to borrow money to start a business, always start a business or never start a business. Never start a business that you are inside the loan. That you're inside the loan or debt. Let me just call it debt. It's quite a popular name. No, start a business or borrow that money to start a business that you are outside the debt, not inside the debt. Let me give an example. Let's say maybe you want to start a business, and the business that you want to start, maybe let's say it's worth like 300,000 Kenyan shillings. At this particular point, you'll be like, okay, fine, I do not have this amount of money. What I have 100,000 Kenyan shillings. So I'm needed to borrow 200,000 Kenyan shillings. At this particular point, you're operating inside the business. Why? Even if you were to liquidate what you have, you see, what you've borrowed is way much than what you see. I know this one from the Western country may work, but in Africa, this does not work. I know someone can buy even a house with the 25,000 USD in America. I don't know, they get equity, they can buy. There is that formula that they apply there. Here does not apply that, okay? So the moment you start a business, you bought 300K, you borrowed 200, and you're operating on 100K. You have a very big hill to climb. But the moment you actually own the 200 and borrow the 100K, then it means you're operating outside the debt. But if you operate inside the debt, you see, they're asking more than you actually even own. See, they're asking you for 200,000. You've never owned this 200,000. That's for a fact. So the moment you get it, so what do you do? Do you even first pay them or do you channel back to the business? And that's the problem that people usually get it. So it's good to operate a business. If you want to borrow money to start a business, operate outside the debt, not inside the debt. Just in case of anything, if maybe say you own 200 and then you've borrowed 100 G's, then you can be able to go ahead and liquidate or do something and you can pay back this. You can buy yourself off the loan rather than being in such kind of a scenario whereby you simply don't own that business. That's a real thing. Go check it out there and be careful as far as when you're starting a business. By the way, don't forget, you can always pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video. Shoot me a call. Let's talk about business. Let's talk about investments for just a cup of coffee's price. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.